So this is a video that I've already should have made around 2 years ago that I'm just now getting around to making. I decided to make this video because I didn't see much information when my child was going through this 2 years ago, so I wanted to document the process. As y'all can see in the title of what it is the EDAS surgery. My son has sickle cell and he has suffered from his first stroke at the age of 2, which left one side of his body. He had to go to therapy and stuff. He wasn't able to move part of his body. He had to get speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, but he fully recovered. And with him having a stroke at a very young age, they say it's easier for the younger you are to recover from a stroke. Progressing, he's been on, with his sickle cell, plenty of medicines, folic acid, baby aspirins. He was on hydroxyurea for a little bit and then discontinued that. He was on JNU for a little bit because he switched from having regular transfusions to apheresis treatment. Just the regular stuff for sickle cell, and that's pretty much been keeping him stable. He really doesn't have a lot of pain crisis, if any. If it is, it's very random here and there. We're blessed with that because we've seen other kids deal with pain crisis and stuff like that, and we really haven't had to go through that. But yearly, since after the age of 2, he's had the stroke, we've been annually doing MRIs to just see and maintain. He's been having little ischemic strokes here and there. Rarely, it's just very rarely, but he has had what they call mini strokes, where it's hard to even tell at all sometimes, or you don't have any lasting effects like the original stroke where he lost the use of different body parts and brain functions and stuff. None of that with ischemic strokes. With many strokes, sometimes it just look like you daze out for a little bit, and sometimes people don't even realize that they've had one. So annually he gets MRIs done and CT scans just to make sure, just to keep a record of how his head is looking. And of course, throughout the years, when he turned 12, 10 years after the big stroke, is when they start seeing narrowing in his artery that goes to his brain, which posed the problem. It would make it really easy for him to have another major stroke, which is not what we wanted at all. Doing the annual test, where the doctors are able to keep a record of what your base is, and when things are starting to go downhill, they have something to refer to see like how much time you have to react, how fast it's moving. Is this something you have to take care of immediately? Is something you have to do in 6 months, a year? If you do have a child with sickle cell or anything like that, make sure you're keeping up with those appointments and stuff like that, so you can have that data when it really matters. So when we found out he was 12, and we were suggested that he needed to go ahead and have it. Well, they started suggesting it when he was like 11, that they were seeing narrowing, but it wasn't like an emergency. The closer he got to 12, or when he turned 12, then it became like, okay, how are we going to go about? Are we going to have the procedure for the Moyamoya, which is what it's called, Moyamoya? Are we going to have the surgery, or are we going to opt out of not having the surgery and all the risks that can, come with that? And of course, brain surgery is a major surgery, so you don't want to take it lightly, but it's kind of an emotional, a mental, plus physical things that you have to think of, because your child is going to have a scar on the side of their head. My son was in his adolescence, so when you're a teenager, appearances and physical is a thing. Like, you really care about these things. If you're an adult, you're probably thinking like, oh, I don't want to die, so I don't want to have a stroke, so I'm going to do whatever it takes. And teenagers don't kind of process that the same way as an adult would. So you have to consider that. It's just a lot of things. Like I said, brain surgery, it's not like 100%. He could die on the table. Something could happen. He doesn't have to wake up. So you have to consider that. Is he, because it's brain surgery, so you have to consider, like, is he even going to come back from this? Or you could decide not to do anything at all, and can you come to terms that you chose not to have this, and a stroke is on the way, it's going to happen, and it could possibly take him out, and have you came to terms with that, and are you okay with that? So having this decision and coming up with this decision and go from there. And even in that decision making, he was back and forth with what he actually wanted to do. He was ready to do it. Seemed like he came to the terms of that's how he wanted to go out. If a stroke happened, then he was okay, but he didn't want to do it, and then ultimately decided to do it. So it's just something mentally for the parent, because like for me, or any parent, having your child make the decision that they don't want the surgery, if they didn't came to terms with that, now it's time for you to come to terms with you have to prepare yourself for that, mentally, physically, or however that looks like for you, that this is what they chose. So you need to prepare yourself for the outcome. So with the back and forth, with him deciding to do it and feeling hopeful but scared at the same time, and him deciding, choosing not to do it, and accepting that this is how, like, that he accepted this, and now I have to accept this. Because with sickle cell, you go through a lot. You go through a lot of transfusions. You go through a lot of doctor's appointments. You go to a lot of hearing, vision, hematologist, your primary. You're dealing with school. You're dealing with you being an advocate for your child in so many areas. And then when your child comes to you and be like, well, it's not so much as saying I want to give up, because they deal with so much on a monthly or weekly or daily basis. You know, you just go through a lot as a parent and them as the child, just to survive, and what it'll take to be stable or to just survive each month. Like you go through a lot. You put in a lot of time, you put in a lot of pain, you put in a lot of effort. You, as a parent, you check your emotions a lot, because you don't want to seem stressed or weak, because you don't want that energy to come off on your child and have them worrying. So, you know, for a child to be like, oh, I don't want to do nothing else, like I'm good, pretty much I'm just gonna let God take control, is a hard pill, tough pill to swallow and just be okay with. So, and you don't have a lot of time to figure it out, because at that point we was already less than 30 days before they called us and was like, look, y'all need to make a decision. Are we doing it, or are we not doing it? And from that point that he wanted to have it done, we had the surgery plan for 30 days. And I'm gonna stop talking so much, and you can see the process of what we went through with the EDS surgery. If your child has to have EDS surgery for any reason, then you can refer to this video to help you see what that would look like. Okay, so the first thing for EDAS surgery, especially for African Americans, I suggest personally that you get your hair cut low. We got Antoine's hair cut low, as you can see, so you don't have to worry about the doctor having to part the hair or the hair coils being in the way when it's time for the healing process. So I would recommend personally to cut the hair low, so the surgeon can see exactly where they're cutting, and then with a neat straight cut, when it's time for the healing process and the hair to grow back, it's not jagged looking, and it's straight and neat, and you won't have any problems. You're gonna have a lot of draining and fluid that's going to be draining post-surgery. So getting the hair cut, you'll just be cleaning pretty much the skin. The lower the cut, the better. Antoine did not want a bald head. Like I said, he's a teenager, so we just did like a low fade for him. So, but yeah, cut the hair, get it low in the section of the head that the doctor is going to be doing the surgery, which we had Dr. Rubel in Atlanta with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and we asked all these questions before because we wanted the best result for Antoine. So that's what we were advised to do at that time. He had some hair on his head, as y'all can see in the video, but we had it just an even cut, so he felt confident in looking good and stuff going into surgery. And coming out of surgery, it was easier for me to do the aftercare and cleaning up with all the blood and everything. And when the surgeon did the procedure, the scarring was beautiful. Like, it was clean, everything was beautiful. Okay, what is this?
The laced up cuts and get y'all hair cut up by Looney. He gonna get y'all right now. He gonna get y'all right. He gonna get y'all looking fresh like me.
And of course, you're gonna need your family support system. Antoine's grandparents on both sides came in. So family support is very good to have. You need your family through this. Antoine had a lot of families, as you can see. They flew in, drove. Everybody got rooms, and this was in the middle of a pandemic. Everyone was not able to be inside of the hospital room because of restrictions for COVID. So we was doing this in the middle of COVID in the end of 2020. So it was a lot of room restrictions, only 2 people in the room, but he had a lot of support on the outside. People booked rooms just in case, because like I said, it's brain surgery, so just in case if anything went south. Everyone was, our immediate family, our close family was very close to the hospital for just in case or whatever happened. Everyone was there already. So the day before the surgery, and the day of the surgery, everyone started coming into town and stuff like that. Even though they wasn't physically able to come in the room and see him. Preparing to go into the hospital the morning of was very emotional for me, because as a mother, you just don't know if this is the last time that you're going to be doing this. Like, if he's going to wake up out of surgery. You want to be hopeful, but then at the same time, I be trying to be realistic at the same time. So as I was helping him get ready and prepare, I just didn't know, like, was this the last time I would be doing this? Like, and if it was, like, it just was sad. But I just tried to keep my emotions in check, because if I fall out, he wouldn't be confident. So I just had to just be strong and, just push through. And as parents, that's sometimes what you just got to do, just suck it up and push through. We decided to have a prayer night via Zoom the night before surgery. Due to the fact of people could not come to the hospital, it gave people an opportunity to see him before he went into surgery the night before, and people could pray for him, give him some well wishes, some motivation, some encouragement before actually going into surgery, so he wouldn't be scared, which really helped. We had a Zoom link. We did his friends, family members, everybody was on the Zoom. It was hundreds of people on the Zoom, just on there either praying, just wanted to see him and his vibrant self, and we was able to thank everybody, for all of their support and stuff before surgery went in, and that kind of helped him know that not only was his family there with him, but he also had a whole community behind him that was waiting for him to wake up out of surgery and be okay and proceed with life. So that was nice to know and encouraging, just as a parent to feel.
So today is surgery day.
And for Antoine, his surgery got moved up earlier than 1:30. It's the second surgery in line this morning, so we don't know the exact time he'll start, but it'll probably be, they said, late morning. So I've been sleeping on this sofa this morning while Antoine's in bed. He's still asleep. They came in this morning, took some labs, some blood work. So if they have to transfuse him during the surgery, they'll be able to cross-match his blood and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get up and start moving. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning now. The visitation starts at 8:30 here. So I'm gonna get up, get dressed, and wait till they come see us for surgery. He can't eat anything, so I'm gonna just let him sleep until we get any visitors as late as he can, because not like he can eat anything, and I don't really want him up just hungry and stuff. So I'll just let him stay asleep. He stayed up pretty late last night playing Fortnite and different video games with his friends, so I'm just gonna let him sleep. So I'll check in with y'all later. Bye. Okay, so how the surgery goes, right, with the EDAS, right, is a carotid nerve, like not nerve, but artery that blood flows through, and it starts to narrow, so it gets smaller and blood cannot flow the way that it needs to flow to be able to reach the brain, and the brain functions as it needs to function correctly. Don't get blood to the brain, enough oxygen and blood to the brain, you have a stroke, pretty much. So what the surgery does is take a major artery that is flowing fine, that is working fine and correctly, and the scar will go from here, kind of like the bottom of the ear, all the way up to the temple. That's where the surgery that's where the incision will be, from like the bottom of the ear to the temple. Antoine, you ready for surgery this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
You gonna go right back to sleep?
Yes, ma'am.
I bet it's something you don't know.
What?
I know.
What?
You got a mark on your neck.
I do.
You know you got a black mark on your neck?
A black mark?
Yeah. Look in the mirror.
I'm not high enough on the bed.
They already put the black mark on your neck from where they're gonna do the cutting. The artery that they're gonna cut. The doctor came in and put the mark on your neck. It is right here. What did I do? Touched you? Dang, can't even touch this boy in real life.
I can see it. I can see it. Can you show it to me?
No. Can't eat till afterwards. But at least they getting you early, so it don't have to take as long to eat. Well, it don't have to take you don't have to starve as long, because they're going to get you early in the day, pretty much. So we are up and ready. Since they got not the transfusion, but the surgery earlier in the morning, we have visitors that want to come see him. And so we're pretty much just waiting for the text or call from them telling us that they're downstairs, because of that's why he has clothes on, because of the restrictions and stuff during COVID and stuff. They're not able to actually come to the room. So while he's able to move around before the surgery, we're just gonna go downstairs and meet with people that wanted to come to the hospital to see him. So we were originally planning to meet in the garden, but it's cold outside, so we'll probably find like an inside place to sit. I don't want to sit in the cafeteria because of the fact that he can't eat, and people probably just gonna be eating breakfast and stuff like that in the cafeteria. So I don't want to go to the cafeteria. We gotta find a place that's not cold, that don't have food there, and that everybody have enough space like to sit down and stuff like that. So once we figure that part out, then the people call us, because we have like, I think it's like 5 or 6 people that want to see us this morning before he goes into surgery. So we'll just see how that goes. I don't know.
I forgot what my room is.
Love you.
Bye, y'all.
Where are we going? Are we following you? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want to take your bag?
No.
I'm a big foot, so I get transported in the bed.
Third floor.
Did we just come out?
So we're all done. So everything went fine. I'm gonna borrow this seat here a little bit. Like we talked about, incision kind of from right in front of the ear there, kind of came up to about right there. Okay, got a good long piece of artery there, and then like we talked about, made a little window of bone, laid it down there against the brain, and opened up everything so there was good flow around it. So everything went very smoothly. Blood loss was fine, and he was rock solid throughout the surgery. So he's waking up right now, but we like to wake him up kind of deep, what we call deep, which means he's going to be pretty sleepy for a little while still, but he'll just kind of slowly wake up in the PACU, okay? But they're going to get the breathing tube out in a minute here, and then he'll just kind of slowly wake up more in the PACU. So, but everything went very well. Now we just got to give that vessel a little bit of time to grow in there and get more blood up there. So, okay?
As y'all can see, our incision looked beautiful. He was a little sleepy from the medicine that they give you to put you to sleep for surgery, from the anesthesia. He was a little sleepy from that already, but when he woke up, he did have some headache and some pain, and he had to lay on the opposite side of the bed. He had to have his head turned. He could not lay on that side of his head. But they kept him with some pain meds, and we was able to leave the hospital maybe 2 days after the surgery. He did require some physical therapy after having the surgery. He had a weak side after surgery. Not walking on flat surfaces, but walking up and down stairs. One leg was stronger than the other one, that had his gait kind of off, that made him susceptible to falling downstairs, which was a problem for our residents because where we reside, we have stairs and his room is upstairs. So upon recovery, we had to get a blow-up mattress and house him downstairs for like a couple of weeks. It was a little bit more than a couple of weeks. It was a few weeks, maybe like a month or so after surgery, before we felt comfortable enough for him to walk up and down stairs. Even though we do have rails on our stairs, we just didn't want potential falls. And physical therapy was helping build the strength in his legs. Strengthen his legs to be able for him to walk. So hello everybody. We're just gonna give you a quick run through with what we dealt with. We were only, since the surgery that he had on Friday, it's been Saturday, Sunday, and today is Monday. So 2 nights since we've been here. How was your first night coming out of surgery? You were very agitated the first night.
I was.
He had a catheter in, which very agitated him because he didn't know that he was gonna get a catheter before he went into surgery. He was prepared for everything else, but no one ever told him that he was going to have a catheter. So when he woke up from surgery and saw that he had a catheter inserted, then he was upset and wanted it out. Right?
It was a catheter at that thing.
And he wanted to be recorded under anesthesia.
Oh yeah, I thought I was going to be saying some funny stuff.
He was, because when they first put him to sleep, they was like, oh, y'all go ahead and give him your hugs and kiss and stuff like that before he goes in, because it's gonna happen quick. He gonna go under quick. So we was giving him a hug or whatever, kiss him on his forehead, some good luck when he got his surgery and stuff like that. He went to hugging me, hugging his grandma. Then he started trying to hug the doctors and the nurses and stuff that was in the room. So the medicine did work really quick, even though it took him about an hour to actually fall all the way to sleep before they could actually start the surgery.
Only thing I can remember before the surgery was like hugging y'all, and then somehow I got in another room. I don't remember how I got there. Then the doctors was talking to me about a party, and then I was picking people for a party and stuff.
You were picking people? Who did you pick? Who was the first person you picked for the party?
You know that dude that was talking to me?
Oh, you were picking the doctors in the room?
Yeah.
Oh. The one you was asking about the blood in the plane?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was cool. So he was the first one you picked for the party. So the staff at Children's Eggleston was very nice. Dr. Rubel was very good. He had made sure we understood, explained everything that was going on, everything that was happening, made sure Antoine had an understanding, gave us time to ask questions if we had any, or if we needed any explanation or something. I just wanted to know the plan, or what will happen next, what to look forward to. They were very informative in letting us know that process and how that stuff works. So the first time you saw yourself, what did you think?
When?
The first time when you was in the after the surgery, and what was the first time you saw yourself on my camera?
Yeah.
So what did you
I really
think?
wasn't worried about myself. I was really worried about what the incision is.
What the cut was gonna look like?
Yeah.
And so how did it look to you when you first saw it? Was it what you were expecting? Because Antoine had questions before he went in there. He was asking like the doctor like, was the incision gonna be made with scissors or a knife? And then he learned that it was gonna be a scalpel. So he had questions going in between, like how many people is gonna be in the operating room and stuff like that. So Antoine had questions for the doctors himself before he went in there, and they were able to answer those questions for him, which was also good. So what did you think about your incision when you first saw it? What you think, it was good, bad? Were you expecting it? Was it a lot?
When I first saw it, it was drippy.
It was drippy, like
it was that night when it was leaking.
So what that make you think? It's gonna leak forever?
No, I just thought it was gonna be looking nasty, like a whole bunch of dried up blood.
Okay. When I first saw his incision, to me, it just looked, I don't know, I guess I was just trying to see what it reminded me of, and it reminded me of was like when little girls twist their hair, like 2-strand twists, like this. Like it was just like this. Y'all can't even see it, but it looked like this, but laid to the scalp of his head. To me, that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like to me. Which I didn't even know you could do that with skin. So I was trying to figure out, like, how does that work? That was my whole thing. Like, how did they do that? Like, how does it look like that? Like, it looked it clean, it looked it neat, it didn't look like messy or nothing. It was in order, in a straight line, just wrapped like that. And I was like, that was just surprising, like how precise it was and clean it was.
It wasn't clean.
Well, I'm saying, like,
But
it was a straight line, yeah. It wasn't like wiggly, or it was a crispy line. So I just like that. And the fact that they didn't cut a whole lot of hair. It was just a strip. He didn't have to shave like the whole side. Like, it just looked appropriate. So next thing that starts is the swelling. So how did you feel when you started swelling? Because first thing that started swelling on you was your forehead off to the side.
First, I thought the swelling was gonna be there forever.
Okay. You thought you was gonna look like Hunchback?
What is that?
You never seen Disney Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Probably, I don't know.
You've never seen. He lived in the tower on top of the church.
No.
What? I'm gonna have to show you who that is. But that's what his eye was looking like. So the first day he swelled up like that, the swelling covered his vision a little bit, so he couldn't see. Then it came down to like the front of his face, where it made his eye puffy right here, and a little bit to his forehead. The doctor is telling us that we should expect for it to move down to his cheek. The more he sits up and walk around, the more this process will move along. But his cheek and bottom of his face on that side will get puffy, and then it'll move down to his neck. Will
you know what I look like?
Get puffy.
You know when, like, for movie covers, they split the people's face, and it'd be like one person face on the left side and half of the other person face on the right side.
Yeah.
That's what I look like.
Let me see on your phone. Pull up your phone, and I'm gonna type in Hunchback of Notre Dame, since he don't know who Hunchback of Notre Dame is.
Let me see.
But that was a Disney cartoon called Hunchback of Notre Dame, where he liked it. This little gypsy lady, I believe, and he lived on top of the tower.
Dang, mama, you low-key tried me.
I low-key tried you?
Y'all.
Wait.
Is this him right here?
Yeah.
Y'all, she's saying this is what I look like.
This is what he had looked like. You don't think?
This, y'all.
Well, if you get this surgery, this is what you're gonna look like coming up out of it. After the first day, that's what you're gonna look like.
This.
Yes. You're gonna be swinging off a roof. Looking like that.
This. Dang. I feel played.
But look, so the swelling is gonna go down to his neck, and then the doctor says after his neck finishes swelling up, then all the swelling should be going in his face. It goes back to looking regular.
Not looking like what I just showed y'all.
Right. So, which should take a process of 2 weeks for that whole swelling thing to transition down to the neck and for everything to be going. He did a little physical therapy while he was here, walking around the facility and walking up and down steps. How'd you feel doing that?
I felt low-key tired.
You did? It took a lot of, like, you was running, like that type of tired? Like you had just got finished doing a lot?
Yeah.
Did you feel tired while you were doing it, or you felt tired after you was finished?
While I was doing it, it was the stairs that got me.
They got you? Yeah, we have stairs in our house, so we are putting things in place to kind of accommodate him for a little bit until he works his strength back up to not getting tired when he's walking up and down steps, because his room is upstairs in our house and everything else like the kitchen and stuff is downstairs, so he walks up and down the stairs multiple times.
Dang, she said that like I only come downstairs to go in the kitchen.
I mean, you only come downstairs to go to the kitchen. What else do you come downstairs? Play PlayStation?
Yeah, I play PlayStation more than I play my game.
Oh, well then he comes downstairs to eat and play.
Oh my God.
So, like I said, we're gonna accommodate with him on that, so you can feel a little exhausted after surgery. And I think that's just where we are for right now. We're waiting to get discharged. We've been at the hospital for a total of 5 days, from the apheresis, which is like his transfusion treatments, having the surgery, to recovery, doing a little physical therapy. And after 5 days, which is actually 3 days after surgery, we're about to be discharged and be able to go home. Which we are ready, because while you're in the OR, they check your vitals like every hour. So your vitals are getting checked 24 times a day. So it's no sleep in the OR.
Oh.
There's no sleeping whatsoever.
Last night was the first night we actually got to get some sleep.
Yes. And we didn't want to get up, but I had to push myself. Like, if I did not get up, he was not going to get up.
I wasn't.
And I was like,
I wasn't.
We got to get up. We cannot just lay around in the bed because we just been up for the past 3 days. But I was like, we got to get up and get, clothed and clean and everything like that. Get the day started. Even though, just be that hospital vibe. So, like I said, we're ready.
Just tell y'all I've been through a lot. Look at this. I've been through a lot. I still got some IVs in.
Yeah, he's a strong one. He's a strong one. And we had a lot of support system outside. We even had family members that worked here at the hospital that we didn't even know. They came in to check up on his dad's side of the family. So we appreciate everything, everybody. We hope that y'all are going to enjoy this video. We put this video out because so y'all can see the process. When I looked up this surgery to kind of get a feel for it, for what I might experience with Antoine, it is not really a lot of videos.
It's not.
To kind of give you a feel for it. And people that make it, they either start after the process, like a week later. So I do understand going through the process of why. Because if you're recording yourself as exhausted as he was, you're not going to want to record.
No.
If you're recording it yourself. I was here to help record. And half of the time he didn't want me to record. We just had to stay focused on why and what we were recording. And even then I didn't record a lot because it was just a lot. Emotionally, physically, mentally, this whole process is a lot. So I understand now going through it why it's not a lot of things. Because first you gotta accept the fact that you're finna have a major surgery. That's a lot. You don't know if you're going to wake up off the table. That's a lot. Who wants to record that? And then when you get up, you're now adjusting to having an incision or a cut on the side of your head. That's a lot. And then your face starts swelling up and trying to understand how that process works. That's a lot. And then if you have any weaknesses, like walking around, getting up, or anything like that, that stuff is a lot. So I was able to go along on this journey with Antoine to provide y'all this content. So we hope that y'all do enjoy this content. So after 6 weeks, he met with his doctor, his primary, his hematologist, and the neurosurgeon to make sure that everything was healing properly. And like I said, I think that's where the haircut came in. It was clear to see. The hair was just now growing in. It wasn't getting all tangled up inside of the incision. Everything was healing nicely. And they gave us the all clear for him to return back to pretty much normal. He was able to return back to virtually because they gave him a homebound teacher, but he was able to continue going to school virtually and continuing his physical therapy, which he was doing twice a week for like 4 months straight. The surgery is a life-saving surgery. I am so happy that he had the surgery. It was very emotional as a parent. From a parent's perspective, it was very emotional situation, but I do not regret it at all. I would do it all over again if need be. I am happy with how his results turned out. We have not had any problems with anything. He does his annual MRI where they just check do CT scans and MRIs to check to make sure that everything is working properly, in which it is. And we were just blessed throughout this whole situation. I hope you were able to learn something in this video. I hope if you have a child that needs this surgery, has Moyamoya, or needs this EDAS surgery for any reason, that this will give you some light in our personalized experience and what you can expect.